know you're crazy, but I only wanna be with you. You think I'm shady cause I'm out here trying to make some moves, but it ain't like that. Just know that I'll be right back. I'll give you all my time just to let you know you're mine. It ain't nothing. Promise I'ma do it all to give you something. This love I got is only for you. You're my comfort, my future husband. I'ma give you all my heart, yeah, all of it, yeah. Baby, I know that I gotta come fix it. You the only nigga that I be missing. Swear I'm coming home to give you the business. Turn off my phone, it can leave me a message. I'ma just cover your body with kisses, kisses. Rub your body down, you know that I miss it, miss it.
Glasses in the air, toast to a higher power. Cause what you tuning into right now,
sit down,
it's Lito's happy hour. Lito's happy hour, this is where it's at. Raw and uncut, we giving real facts. Educating, entertaining all the people. And when it come to podcasts, it ain't nothing equal. Giving people knowledge they can put in action. All the way authentic, we ain't never capping. Exclusive interviews cause we ain't never lacking. The other niggas talking and we bout the action. Glasses in the air, toast to a higher power. This is Lito's happy hour.
Welcome to Happy Hour with Lito. I'm your host. Today, you know what I'm saying, my special guest is a buddy of mine, you know what I mean, comedian and co-host of the Spears and Steinberg podcast, my guy, Andy Steinberg. What's up, bro?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man.
Glad to be on, man. Glad that you having me back.
For sure. Got a lot to talk about today, man. So like I said, I appreciate you coming back on first and foremost. I know before when we did it with Aries, we didn't have the video. So hopefully we can get all three of us on here again so we can debate. Because I feel like he owed me a redo.
On your LeBron debate?
Yeah, like we got to talk about it, especially now.
He's so fired up, man. He even posted about it today on Instagram. He is a Jordan through and through. I'm a Jordan fan too, but I don't think about it. But
listen,
daily.
I love Jordan just as much. See, I think that's the misconception, right? Like when I was younger, like I love Jordan, you know what I'm saying? But like when he got in the league, I was one. You know what I'm saying? So like I didn't really see the Jordan of the 80s. I didn't really see, but as far as like when he started like the 90s, that's when I really got a chance to see who Michael Jordan really was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I think he's just mad because he feels like he gets called an old head all the time. And it's like he said, you haven't seen, you got to look at the video. You got to see how he played. And then he gets that Jordan didn't play against anybody. And he did. And it's a skill level. But I mean, it's whatever you want it to be. I can't fight over who's better. I thought Jordan was better. I thought he was a more dominant player. And when I say that, I don't mean dominant like on the court, just his mental aspect from the day he entered the league to the day he left was to win every game that he played. And that's like no other. I mean, other than Kobe, those are the only two that were like that. In that manner, I think they were able to put everything else behind them, aside, whatever, and just go straight forward that way. So that's the difference. And
Allen Iverson too, though. He was kind of like a killer like that.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Iverson, he couldn't take over. He could take over a game, but he was smaller and he couldn't command what a Jordan did as a 6'8" guard or 6'6" guard. But it is what. But off the court, who has more power? Who's more dominant? LeBron's more dominant in the way with socially he's more dominant. But Jordan has lived longer than anybody else off the court because his shoes are. Everybody on the court, half the players are wearing his shoes, so he's still there.
That's true. I mean, every week, they had a new pair coming out, and it's not like it used to be back in the day where you can just, unless you're somebody like that, like a celebrity who knows people who can just get you sneakers. Like now you have to, like, there's raffles that you have to get in, and you have to just like be lucky. And then these people are getting like the people that get the raffles, they are like buying so many pairs of shoes and then they're reselling them for like astronomical prices. It's really crazy.
I was at, I don't know what mall I was at, but then this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, will you just go give me these shoes?" I go, "What size?" He goes, "Any size." And so then I went in, I was like, sure, I was going in anyway. So I went in and he goes, "Is this for you?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "What size do you need?" I go, "Any size." So they go, "Get out of here." So, I'm not a sneakerhead, but every time I see a sneaker that I want, it's sold out. It's not available. So I get it. But I mean, I don't think that people need to fight over whether who's the best, because they're both outstanding. And the league today has so many outstanding players. And I understand that's why people say, Jordan didn't play, but the people he played against were great. And it was a different kind of league. I would love to see some of the players that they said are the greatest right now go down the middle, go in the lane, and get the fouls that they got that weren't called. True. I mean, you get the shit beat out of you going and playing. These people haven't played that kind of game now. So it's a different game too. So it's hard to say who's the greatest, but Jordan had such an effect. It made the game international, everything about him. So I understand why he fights, but you guys fight it out. I'm going to stay on the sidelines. It doesn't make a difference, because neither one of those two pay my bills. Neither one of them pay my bills. I'm not going to be fighting for them.
I'm trying to tell you, but listen, when I see y'all, like I watch y'all every week. Like it's listen to the podcast, everything, right? That's why I said yesterday I almost wrecked listening to you when I was driving. Y'all were talking about those the IG models or whatever that Aries was talking about. Listen, I was crying. I had to pull over, man. It was bad, but no, Aries always. I know he's a Jordan. I feel like, right, the first time we talked, he got me, but I'm ready now. So that
he's prepared. He's prepared to defend Jordan always. Yeah,
I'm ready now. And then one of my guys was like, "Man, listen, y'all, you set up the Zoom, and then we just gonna all come on and have a debate." And I said, I mean, I'm cool with that. I said when Aries and Andy are free, I said I'll see what's up with that. But he was like, yeah, because he said I got some more stuff I can say about Jordan. So, and it might be some stuff that I don't know. I love Michael Jordan, right? I think it's just all about eras. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you really can't really say, like, even Michael Jordan don't like to be called the greatest of all time, because like he says, like, it's about I was the best player in my era. Such and such was the best player of their era. You know what I mean? So I think it is different though when you talk about Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of Hall of Famers that Jordan went against, of course, but at the same time, LeBron see a Hall of Famer almost. I mean, like in the finals, he had to go against KD, Steph. Clay's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Draymond's gonna be a Hall of Famer. I mean, and then on his team, him and Kyrie probably the only one. Kyrie might be a Hall of Famer, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But him for sure. But
Kyrie get back on the court to become a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now it's so weird. He's playing away games.
Yeah, I mean So this is a whole nother thing that's going to be, added to it because of the pandemic, who played, who didn't play, when they could play. I mean, people are losing, a year, 2 years now on this. So,
right.
I mean, the bubble championship, is that different? Was that the same strength as a regular championship? We could go on about NBA and everything. But again, like I said, there ain't one NBA player paying my bills. Not one of them.
You're right. Right.
I'll wear a jersey with my team name, the team name on it. I never wear one with someone else's name on the back of it because I had to pay for that. They get theirs for free.
Right.
But the thing that people have to remember too, when fighting, everybody is arguing, all the fans are yelling and screaming at each other. And this is what I like to point out to people that people forget. And really, I see it a lot more even in baseball because of fights in the stands. The fans are fighting each other. After the game, they'll fight each other in the parking lot. Well, all the fans are fighting in the parking lot. You know what the players are doing?
Chilling.
chilling, and going to eat with the opposing teams.
Yeah.
Because you know what they are? Like, they're the athletes. They're the players. It's baseball. They're the baseball. But what I'm saying is they all have that in common. So they leave afterward. I'm not saying everybody. There's some people that don't like each other, but after the game, there's people on the opposite team that go out to eat while other people in the parking lot are beating the shit out of each other. How does that make it? What are you doing?
You're right.
I get it. It's your team, and you represent the team. The team doesn't represent you, because those players move based on their contracts, who's paying who. They don't you represent the team. The team doesn't represent you.
100%.
That's the whole thing. It's funny to me to watch everybody get upset about any of this, because I'm just trying to pay my bills. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to put anybody else up on the throne. You guys will debate who's greatest, but at the end of the day, I'm not fighting with anybody about it.
True. That's a fact. So let's take a left turn real quick, man. I want to ask you, you know what I'm saying? I am someone who is big on mental health and everything, especially these days with everything that's going on. So I just want to ask you how you doing today. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm doing fine. You know what? I think going through this has made me more hyper aware of days that I'm not doing fine. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, up some days and I'll start going through my day, and instead of just rushing through my day like I used to do, I'm like, man, I'm not. And you know, when you use the word depressed, I mean, everybody says depressed, so I don't mean it that way, but recognizing that you're not on an up day, that you are on a down day, that you are a little depressed, makes a big difference in how you go about your day. So being said, how are you doing today?
Oh man, you know what? Today is a little crazy. My brother has COVID. My mom has pneumonia. Yeah, it's crazy today, but I'm good.
How what, the COVID situation, was this vaxxed or not vaxxed?
Not vaxxed. He is awaiting a kidney transplant.
Oh, so he can't even get vaxxed anyway.
So he can't get vaxxed.
And now he's dealing with this.
So, just praying for him and believing that everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was the news this morning that I got. He got rushed to the hospital. But
I mean, I had COVID, not this Thanksgiving, but the previous one. And it was rough. I don't know about the new variant. I don't know what variant, obviously, that he has, but I wish him the best, and wish you, that's eases your mind a little. That your mind gets a little ease from it, because it's hard when you're going through it, but you're going through it. You have to deal with the fact that he's going through it, which is actually takes up. Physically, it's harder for him, but mentally, it's harder for the people around him.
Yeah.
So,
100%. Yeah. I appreciate that. So, how was your Christmas?
Excellent. I only missing one thing is I know you know me, but other people don't. So I'll just say that I'm from Arizona. My kids still live in Phoenix, and I live in New Jersey now. So and they're older. They're like going to be 22 and 24, and love my dudes. And that's the only thing I missed this Christmas is I wasn't able to go out there for Christmas. And my oldest Max was born in January. So I had already made plans to go out for his birthday. So I'll be out there for his birthday, but I just couldn't do it. And that's the only thing I missed this Christmas. And that's a lot. I mean, I talked to him a lot, but had a great Christmas, really took some time off through the holidays and got to enjoy the holidays with my girl and her family.
Cool.
So real nice. And and had a good New Year's as well. How'd you do?
I was good, man. Christmas, I was in Philly.
Yeah.
And I was in Philadelphia for Christmas, and we drove to Jersey, also to see my wife's family, because her family's from Philadelphia, but she has, aunts and uncles and stuff like that that live in Paulsboro. So
yeah. Well, for people who don't know me, it's all the same area. It really is. Jersey and South Jersey and Philly. I mean, you're all in the same place. Yeah. So
yeah, it's about really like you go over the bridge. It's like you're in Jersey. Like it's not. Yeah.
Because when I perform in Philly, I drive from Jersey.
Yeah.
Actually, last time we were in Philly, we were at the Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia. Aries and I were there, and I was driving back, and Aries was gonna. I don't know why he wanted to go. He needed to go to Jersey for something, and he was gonna fly, and then he canceled his flight because he found out I was driving. He wanted to take the drive back for nostalgic reasons, and just because when he was a kid, he would do that all the time.
Yeah,
and everything changes, but there's still things that you see from when you were a kid. So it was kind of cool driving back with him.
Yeah, Aries is funny, man. He's he just wear. That's all. Have you ever seen him with a different pair of shoes on?
I saw him in a pair of. I see him in flops all the time when he's like at the hotel. He's a socks and flop guy. That's what he wears. But otherwise, there's a pair of sneakers at his house in the laundry room. Kind of if you're going outside. I think he only wears them if he goes to smoke and it's cold outside. That would be the only reason he has them on. Because otherwise, no, he's wearing them butter Tims everywhere he goes. And I even told him I have the green Tims, and
switch them up, man. Get some black ones or something.
When we saw he wanted to do for our podcast, we talked about the DMX documentary. And then I played him some scenes from him. I go, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? He goes, what? What are you talking about? What did I say? I go, DMX wore different colored Tims in every single one of them scenes. And you're still wearing, but you're so in the 90s. He is not changing. He's really like an old white dude that kind of does well at a certain period in time and just sticks with that same haircut, same clothes, the same shoes, and he isn't changing that look for anything. So he is like that 90s dude right there.
For sure. Spider-Man, right? I went to go see it. I loved it.
Dude, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was well done. I thought it opened up the door for whatever Marvel wants to do.
Yep. Now multiverse, yeah.
Yeah. Now you can do anything. And every character can come back. It doesn't, and obviously they proved that in Spider-Man. Every character can come back all at the same time if they want you to. Yeah. So that was cool. I wasn't thrilled with Doctor Strange in it because I thought Doctor Strange it was like a happier, softer version of Doctor Strange.
Not at first.
But he says, I don't believe that like Doctor Strange that's in the Doctor Strange the movies, he isn't going to cast a spell for Peter Parker like that. That was the only thing what opened up the door was the only thing that he was kind of like, it's just, I just thought that they did it to make it work. I just didn't like that little bit of it. I think they could have done it in a different way. Something else, they could have made it a little bit more. He was a softer, nicer Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but it still worked. I thought the movie was great. Aries and I talked about it again on the podcast. It's the Spears and Steinberg podcast, in case anybody doesn't know. But loved the movie. I actually went to the theater. That was the first movie I seen at a theater in Jersey since I've been. And I thought it was it was cool being back in the theater, but I also went right as Delta variant's coming out. So my little brain, of course, when I got there, I coughed after I left. I'm like, oh my God. But my head does that to me all the time. And it's because we're constantly reminded of it. It's on the news every day. It's everything. So you can't walk down the street. You can't cough or sneeze and not think that, is this the warning sign?
Right. You're right. Every day, like something is going to remind you of that.
Yeah. Every single day. That's the thing that really, when you talk about your mental health and rolling this back into that, it's hard to keep it straight when every day you have this the shadow over you and you're wondering, and then you got to like I don't have my kids here, so I wonder if they're going to be okay.
Right.
One's vaxxed, one's not vaxxed. So, I get a little nervous. I don't know if the vax makes a difference anymore either. So that's the other thing. So, we could throw that around all day, but when you live with that every day, I think we're all in that fighting that little state of that shadow that we have.
Yeah, you're right. So how do you feel about them bringing in the other Spider-Mans? Do you think did you like that idea, or was it cool?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how they did it. I like how they were confused. If they would have brought him in and they were just like, "We're Spider-Man, we're from the multiverse," but they did it cool, you know. They like, you know, that they were hiding at one point almost, you know.
Yeah.
But that said, who's your favorite Spider-Man now that you got to see all three of them next to each other?
I like Tom.
You like Tom? Yeah, I think he's. When I watched it again and I watched them all together and they're acting, I mean, I really like Tobey Maguire. I really thought
my wife likes Tobey. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Peter Parker. He does Peter Parker better than anyone else could do. I think anybody else can do Peter Parker. Spider-Man, I think they're all good at being Spider-Man, but Tom Holland does a great job at being Spider-Man. So yeah. Tobey Maguire.
Tobey has the webbing that comes out of his skin. So I mean, he's kind of, you know.
Yeah, but even talking and he's talking about like the good part about, you know, being whatever, Spider-Man being alive, all that. He just has this like good twinkle in his eye. Like when you look at him, like his eyes are big and wide open, and he's like really like happy. Something about Peter Parker being a kid that I always thought had an innocence to him. That's the word that I was looking for. There was an innocence to Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
So, which Andrew Garfield did not have at all the whole time. So
no, he did.
And I'm not mad at him either as a Spider-Man, but it was just, yeah, Tobey Maguire is the one who did it for me, I think.
Yeah, I think Andrew was kind of like when it first came out, I was excited to see him because we hadn't seen Spider-Man probably 3 years at that time, maybe 2.
Yeah, I think 3.
And the first one that he was in, I did enjoy it. But it was kind of like he was real, like, I don't know, maybe he was like super bulky. I don't know. There was something about him. I didn't.
He tried to have a different coolness that I don't think Spider-Man has. I don't think Peter Parker has.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about this new Batman coming out?
With the new guy?
Yeah.
You know, have you seen the trailers? Some of the trailers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like this. Give him a chance.
Yeah, the trailers look good, man. They look really good. I mean, everybody hated the idea it was going to be Ben Affleck, and now everybody's like, Ben's great. Keep Ben.
Ben is, to me, right? Seeing Ben play in all of those other movies, I would have loved to see him get at least one his own movie, one Batman movie. But
you never know. You never know what's going to happen because they have the option. I know they're saying that it's not going to happen, and I know Ben Affleck doesn't want to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when things line up right. I think he was an incredible Batman. I think he did a great job as Batman. But yeah, the door's still open. Other people could do a great job with it, and I'm excited to see what they do with it because I'm excited to see if DC can ever get their universe right.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like when DC remains a little darker.
Yeah.
That's why I think this Batman is going to be, I think when people see it, they're going to have it's going to be a different feel. Like you see it and, you know, you see the trailer and everybody's mad that Ben's not in it. But what's his name? Robert, what's the guy playing? You know his name?
No, I forgot it.
I can't think of his I can't think of his name. I remember Aries said he looks like an exotic parrot or something like that.
Yeah, and Aries also he's really missing the idea of not having Ben Affleck. So
yeah, but they said that Ben playing Batman was a lot of pressure on him. They said he went back to drinking. Yeah,
that, and then that was an effect from the problems. But working with Warner Brothers and that in the DC studio department, there was a lot of problems. They got rid of the director. They got a new director. Then everybody hated that film. Then they released the old. Obviously there was a lot. But you would think, and this is the entertainment industry, which I claim to be outside, but just a little bit part of. They don't ever get out of the way of the talented people. There's people that run it for whatever reason. they hire you because they believe that you're talented, and then they want to tell you how to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Make your talent finding the people that are talented work for your company, and then get out of their way, because I hired them for a reason. Why do you want to mess that up?
And I found out that Ben was like a producer on for the Justice League or something like that also.
Yeah. But so if he wasn't a producer, how much worse would it have been for him?
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, and he's not, he wants, I don't know how many people have people that they have dealt with in their families that have alcoholism in it, but dude, that's a tough one, because it's so available to you. It's so easy, and it's so socially acceptable to drink. And you're having a bad day, and to have that cocktail, he can't do that. He can't do that at all. And and if he's in a good place, and it seems like he's in it's fun when you watch famous people enjoying their lives as a couple, because it gives you something to aspire to. Not the love part, not the couple. You love who you love, and but when you see what fun shit they can do when they have that kind of money and that kind of access, damn. I mean, why would you let that get fucked up?
Right, you're right. I think he's doing one more movie, which is Flash. He'll be in that.
Yeah, and that's the last one that he's scheduled for.
Yeah, that's it. But they said there's a possibility that there's always a possibility that he can get his own. I wish, because when he first was in the made his appearance as Batman, I was like, man, that's the one that we should have. In your opinion, who's the best Batman? I like Michael Keaton.
See, I was gonna say that's my favorite. That's the one I grew up with.
Yeah,
and I thought he did a great job, especially for it's Michael Keaton. But honestly, I haven't disliked any of the Batmans after I seen the movie, except for
Val Kilmer.
I prefer Val Kilmer over George Clooney. I really do. Yeah, I did not like Clooney's.
His hair was blonde though, like they didn't color it.
I like that part about it, and I think that they should have done something different. But I think as far as his acting, and I'm not mad at Val Kilmer. I'm really not.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him. I mean, I just think that when they did that, it was trying to maybe switch it up. Maybe, I don't know.
I think that they should. I wish they would have done something with his hair. But as far as the acting and who he was, I thought he did a great job. But and the movie did well. I mean, it didn't do. They wanted to bring him back, so the movie did well enough. But I just didn't like George Clooney. George Clooney kind of went. Clooney kind of put his Clooney on it a little bit, more.
Yeah, he wasn't as like when he was Batman, he still had the Clooney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and the movies weren't good. I mean, those weren't good. Those weren't good Batmans. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger and it was. I'm sorry, and he's Freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No. So those ones, that's the one I really didn't like as Batman. But I mean, all the Batmans. I mean, that's
an impression that Aries need to look up and do Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was way too campy. That was way too silly of a movie. But it's still a comic book. And I think only recently have they taken the comic book and tried to really make it a movie. You know what I mean? When we saw it, when it was the transition, when who's the dude who did the voice way too aggressively though? Which I still thought that was a good Batman. It was just
dang, I can't think of his name, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. That was still a good Bat, but that's when they decided to make it to really go DC went darker, and this is what we're gonna do. And now they've become more interesting. That other stuff that I didn't like that other stuff. Everybody says like the old Joker. Who's the famous old Joker? The one from the original Batman movie.
Oh, you talking about Jack Nicholson?
Everybody says he did a great Joker. I didn't enjoy his Joker.
You didn't?
No.
To me, that Batman is probably, that movie is probably like one of my top. I mean, if you gotta look, that's probably like top 3 Batman movies to me. That one.
I liked the movie. I liked everything about it. Again, wasn't thinking his Joker was the worst thing I've ever seen. They still kept him a little silly. They didn't, so I like how Joker is now. Joker is
you didn't like
dark.
The Joker from The Dark Knight.
Who did Joker in The Dark Knight?
He passed away. I
liked it. That's I know who you're talking about.
Hold on, I'm about to tell you because.
Hey, but if you watch my podcast, I forget. Yeah, no, his was good. But did you hear me say about Jared Leto?
Yeah.
I like that he took the risk.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's to and how can you?
And we're back.
Is this on my end? Is my things bad?
Yeah, it just because it had you. It just started it froze and then I couldn't see you.
Let me see. Let me check something really quick because I'm at a hotel, and so you know how you have to do that like every day.
Yeah.
Let me just see if that's what's going on.
Okay.
It's showing me that I'm fine.
Oh, okay, that's all good.
It's a shitty hotel Wi-Fi.
It's all good.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That's what editing's for.
Yeah.
So you and Aries are on the road right now. What city are you in?
I'm in St. Louis right now.
St. Louis. Okay, that's right. That's right.
And it's cold. It's so cold. It was 9.
Sure.
It was 9 degrees the other night when I went to the show.
It was 9 degrees yesterday morning when I went to work.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
9 degrees is, but today it's like 29, but it's a little windy and there was rain, and that makes it worse. When there's no wind, it's bad, but it's not that bad. But this morning we had to go get something we went and picked up some food for lunch, and it's freezing. But I'm going to be back out here, back at the same place, the St. Louis Helium, on the 28th and 29th, where they have a side room. It's called the Garage. I'm headlining that because I'm working out my hour for a recording that I'm doing.
Yeah. Talk about your hour that you're doing.
I'm putting my hour together. It's, with Aries, I open up for him on the road. So I only do about 20 to 30 minutes. And so I'm doing an hour, and I have other material that I have, but I don't always get to it. I hardly ever get to it. Sometimes I'll rotate a joke in and take another joke out and play with it. But like I'm going there really to set up the whole hour to make sure that I have like everything lined up and have the full hour and it makes sense together. I do a lot of work with autism. My younger son, True, is on the autism spectrum. And so I have a lot about autism in my act, and I do some fundraising for it. And so when I do those shows, I do almost like 70% of it is on autism. So a lot of that is moving into my hour because I love doing it, and I love it in my shows because I really feel like it's a connection to people in the audience that maybe haven't laughed at the fact that whether it's their child or their grandkid, but they really don't know, unless you've been through it, you don't understand it.
Right.
And there's nothing, you have to laugh at things. And I'm not saying I don't make fun of anything to do with autism, but I make light of some of the things that my son has done and what makes him completely funny and original and what makes me love him for being the kid that he is, and being able to give that to audience members. I like it, but there's some jokes I've been doing a long time that I want to kind of move aside. But I've enjoyed them and the audience loves them. So I want to put them on this DVD. And then I have other things that I haven't done. I'll move those into the act so that people can still get that from me, but in a different joke. I've been running one for so long, and it's funny. It's one of the first things I ever wrote that I went, that's funny. That's me. That's really important. And it's been there, but I want to do some other stuff.
That's cool. Yeah. Every time when I went, we always enjoyed ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to come to Cleveland. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, especially with all this stuff going on with my, my mom and my brother. I don't know how, the next couple of weeks might be a little different, but I'll definitely let you know if I'm able to come out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. If you make it, great. If you don't, I completely understand. Families first, man. You got to take care of that. And it's tough. And I really appreciate, and I got to say this too, because I really, really appreciate the people that come out to the clubs right now, because it's easy to stay home. It really is. It's always been easy to stay home.
Right.
But to come out, and I don't want to, we have to live our lives regardless. But, when you go out, we do take chances and we need to, but I really appreciate it, because especially like being in St. Louis right now, it's 9 degrees at night. There's COVID, and you're still coming out to laugh and try to enjoy some life and support, live comedy. And God, I got to tell you, I really appreciate it. Even if you don't like me and you come out, I appreciate the fact that you came out. That you really wanted to go through it so that you could have a little laughter in life, and it's great. And we had one guy last night though, and I said something to him early, and then Aries just roasted him. He was not having it. He was not enjoying himself, and the girl that was with him apparently was his like best friend, and she is dying laughing the whole show. She's enjoying me. She's enjoying Aries. The room is laughing. It's so much fun. It was the best audience of the whole weekend so far. And that one dude just would not break. I don't think he smiled once. And he got roasted
sitting
so
up front. He must have been sitting up front.
He was right up front. He was right up front, right where you have to see him. And it was so funny to watch him get roasted. And I think that once he made that commitment that he wasn't going to laugh, even when they were roasting him, and the whole audience is laughing, and he was committed, man. And it was just, even he was fun. I was happy that he came out. And then I was happy actually that he stood his ground, and he was just like, okay, I said I'm not having it. So now I'm definitely not going to. And he stayed in that the whole time. It was kind of funny within itself. So, but I appreciate everybody coming out, man. This is not an easy time, and you got to make some decisions that work for you and your family. And I appreciate when everybody comes out. So on the 28th and 29th, hold on, I got a little COVID here. Yeah. But on the 28th and 29th, I'll be back at the St. Louis Helium. If you want to come out, tickets are I think they're like $10. It's inexpensive. There's going to be some good comics on the show, a host and a feature, and then myself. Drinks are reasonably priced, man. Come on out and check it out. It's going to be a fun show. And if you don't want to see me, if you get sick of me and you're like, this dude was terrible, Godfrey is going to be at Helium on the Late Show. So you can, if he doesn't sell out, you can go buy a ticket to go see Godfrey and tell him to give you my $10, put it towards Godfrey's ticket. And
I think people will enjoy your show, man, for real. I can't wait to see the hour, because is it going to be on like video or anything, your hour?
Yeah, it's supposed to be on video. I want it to be. That's what we were doing. It's an album, but we're supposed to be recording it too, because I want to get it on YouTube. I don't want to. I might bring it on the road with me and sell it, but my goal is to put it on YouTube, cut it up, and so people can see what I do. I've never done that before, because I never was confident in the fact that you're going to come see me and then you're going to see the same thing that was that you saw on YouTube. I didn't want that, but I have more than enough material now. So it's not, and if you see something that's funny and you watched a clip, that's not bad. But if you come in and you have that whole thing on there, I really just wanted it to be so people can see little shots of me and see if I'm there, if I'm there kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, you might as well sell it, because Aries is selling CDs still.
Yeah, Aries is selling CDs. It's so funny too. So some people go, what's that? A CD. I don't have a CD player. And then Aries says, you don't have a PlayStation, Xbox? Yeah, you can watch it.
Yeah,
you can listen to it. Yeah, you can listen to it. I actually bought for Christmas, I bought myself like a $60 DVD player, just because I have a bunch of old DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
And I have quite a few streaming platforms, but there were some things I wanted to see and I couldn't find them. And so I just was like, I'll just get this $60 DVD player here. That's
where that PlayStation comes in handy, or the Xbox.
It does, but I'm not a gamer. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer at all, so I don't have it. When I go with my kids, that's how I watch stuff is in theirs. But at home, I didn't have anything, so that's what I did. So you guys, you can buy if I do put my DVD, it'll be $25, and then you can just go buy a $50 DVD player, and for $75, you can take me home.
Unless you have you already have your kids or whatever have a PlayStation or Xbox, something like that.
Man, I don't know how kids are the ones playing these games, because it's a $2,000 for an Xbox right now, or a PlayStation is what, $1,200.
That's because they're jacking the price up. They yeah.
And the games are $60 a piece. These aren't kids that are playing. These are real men playing real games.
This is true. I am one of those.
Yeah. So yeah, don't put it on your kid. I just never. I don't have the dexterity to win. Like, I can play the games, I know, but I'm never going to beat anybody. I don't have that XX whatever you're supposed to. I never was able to do that, and I was like, I'm fucking tired of losing, so I just stopped playing. I'm old. I'm 56. I can play you some Pong. I'll kick your ass at some Pong if you want
to play. Okay, I'll take you up on that. So next time that we're around, we're in an area where there is some Pong, we're going to have to play.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about y'all show, man, the Spears and Steinberg podcast and everything that y'all doing, because y'all made some changes, with the joining the laugh
button.
Yeah,
we were able to get with the network that we liked. There was only a few that we really did like, and so laugh button worked out. It was great. Before we even got started, I got to go do some work in New York, and their studio's right above or right next to the Comedy Cellar. So that was just cool, just for me, just because I love the Comedy Cellar. And we joined up with them, and I think it's working. I think we're growing a little bit quicker. But overall, it really didn't change a whole lot. We still do almost all of our stuff in-house. We have a great editor that does our video work, that works on Aries' team. Because Aries has a team. I'm just a comedian. Aries has a team. Aries owns a franchise called Aries Spears. So he has people, and they put our stuff together. We did a really good job. The original podcast editor and sound guy was my guy, Steve from Arizona, and he's still doing it. So it sounds like we made some changes, but we really haven't. Our growth has been better. YouTube has really helped us out. We weren't really, and that's what Aries did. Aries got this video guy he's actually from England. And now everybody, we're all in the internet, so it doesn't make a difference where you're from.
Right.
And he does great work, and it's really helped us out to get the YouTube up, and we've grown a lot quicker because of YouTube. So again, that's why I want to put my stuff on YouTube now. And I should know this, but you guys got to understand, I am 56, and this is, it just didn't, as a comedian, there was an old way to become a comedian, and I'm still kind of locked in that in some aspects where I don't like doing this other stuff. I just wanted to be funny, and then people go, "Oh, you're funny," and then come work on our stage, and then other people find out you're funny, and then before you know it. But it's much easier for a 12-year-old to do something with a bottle and a string and have 1 million views than it is for me just to say something funny. So I'm still learning. I got to let go of some of the old ideas.
He has a promo team too.
Or
does he do most of that himself?
He does most of that himself.
Okay.
But but he has people, obviously Aries has been doing this for 30 years. So he has people that, have worked for him and back him up and do other things for him that he needs done. So it's helped out our podcast to pull some of those people into what we're doing. But yeah, man, it's been really great working with him this last few years on this podcast because, I was just a old guy who kind of ran out of things to do and started doing comedy. Actually, I grew my kids up, and this is like my second go round in life. And meeting Aries was, I mean, why would I be on the road with Aries? I mean, it just worked out. I met him in Arizona, and we're on the road. And then I'm trying to work on a podcast, and he was talking about a podcast. And then we just decided to start doing it together, which I never thought was going to, you know, be something I was going to be doing with Aries Spears.
Right.
When we started, we didn't have like a format, and we still really don't. We talk about anything, but Aries really likes talking about movies. I honestly never wanted to talk about movies because there's so many people who review movies, but you know, with his impressions and the things that he does, that fits his skill set so well because he can do the impressions of the people in the movie, or, you know, what else was in the movie. And it's funny when he does it. And so when we started doing it, I realized we're not actually even doing movie reviews. We're doing commentary on movies, which is different because it's just like two guys having an opinion. Like if you were at anywhere else, if you're at a bar, barbershop, wherever, you know, whoever you talk to, you know, that's really what it is. And it was fun. It was fun. And we don't agree on I say we agree probably about 60-40, you know, so there's a lot of room for arguing and being irritated in there too. So that really kind of solidified what we were doing. And again, we still talk about day-to-day life and current events and everything that else is happening in the world. But to have that like a little bit of an anchor that we know we're going to talk about something that we both saw, like tomorrow we're doing, we're talking about Action Park. It's a documentary. We like documentaries too, but it's a documentary on this park in New Jersey that was like a water park. Mm-hmm. And it was built in the 80s, and it's a really cool documentary. And it talks all about how this water park came to be. And in the 80s, when it was built, it wasn't designed by like engineers who design, you know, these rides. This was designed by like guys who were building the park, who just like, it would be cool if it did this, you know, and then they have to build it. And, you know, a lot of people got hurt at Action Park, and there was actually, you know, not to bring it down, but some people actually didn't make it out of the park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And but, you know, back in the 80s, you know, things happened, and people just kind of went, okay, well, that happened. Let's close the ride and we'll do something. So it was really interesting. But my girl's from Jersey, so she had been to that park. She actually knew one of the rides that they were talking about. It was closed when she went. And Aries, I asked him if he was there but he never went to Action Park. So he didn't know. So when he saw the documentary, he couldn't believe it. And he couldn't believe it was in his backyard. So we're going to be talking about that this week, because it's cool. And it's fun when we get into that. And when he gets nostalgic, it also makes it more fun too, because then little Aries comes out, you know, little young. Let me rephrase that. Young Aries comes out.
Right.
I don't want anybody to think Aries is taking little Aries out.
Right. You know what? I was thinking about something too. I need to ask him. This was a long, long time ago. I think I got to ask him, did he come here and host at this club that was here before? Because I could have swore that they had him there. And then I was there that night. It was I probably was 22, something like that. And
who else was up?
It was just him. He was just hosting the club. They had him as a host, and it was an older club. It was like a 21 up club, but it was like one of those, it was like a, you know, just very like no kids, mature. You had to dress a little nice. I could have swore that he was there. I could be wrong, but I swear I thought that he was there, and they had him hosting one night.
Well, it was like, how many years ago would that be? Like you said, 20 years ago, or you were 20?
No, I was about 21, okay. 22 years. So I was like 21, 22. So it was over. I'm 38 now. So it's been a while.
It could be, but I don't know. You got to ask him.
Yeah.
When you come out to when you come out to Cleveland, you can ask.
I have to ask him. Yeah.
Cleveland's a funny club too. That improv out there, right off the water. That's a different room.
Yeah, y'all got to go to eat. You know, when y'all go and touch down to eat, call me. I'll tell you where you can go because they got some soul food spots out there that's crazy.
With good catfish, because that's what Aries. If you tell them some good catfish, Aries will drive miles to go get it.
Catfish. I mean, they even serve you Kool-Aid
in the jars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So like I have to like tell y'all the name of the place and I'll text it to you and everything. Last question. Top 5 comedians of all time.
Of all time? Damn, that's a tough one.
Just for you.
It's really tough for me because I can start. Number one's easy for me, and that's Richard Pryor. And then after that, it gets real difficult for me because I don't know who's number two. You know, we were just talking about this, and you probably said this would be my last question because it would be easy, but it's not because I've been influenced by a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go from there? Man, I mean, I know the comics that I like. I know are we talking about living or dead? Does it make a difference?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's a tough one for me. Because it's either like we were talking about last night, is Eddie Murphy, because he only had 2 albums. So when you say comedians, I'm thinking stand-up comics.
Yeah, yeah.
And Eddie Murphy, stand-up comic, has 2 of the greatest albums ever, but there's only 2. It's just 2.
Raw and Delirious.
Yeah, but then like a lot of times I would like to put Patrice up there, but he only had, he had more than 1 album, but he only had the Elephant in the Room that really hit. You know, man, I'm just going to give you number 1, Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor, man. I think that's to me. Man,
he made you want to be a comic.
There was a joke that he told years ago, and I'm a kind of a weird kid. I'm most of the people that diagnosed my son said I was kind of probably on the spectrum as well, and so I heard things differently. And Richard Pryor just had a joke that was just about, I'll tell you the joke because it's quick. It's that he said, white people drive through black neighborhoods and they see all the kids on drugs. And they go, oh, isn't this a shame? And by the time they turn around and drive back home, they see all their white kids on drugs and they go, oh my God, it's an epidemic. And even as a little kid, I understood what it meant. And I understood the idea behind what he just said and how he approached saying something that was horrible and true, but in a way that it was digestible to everyone so that people heard it.
Right.
Even if they didn't understand it completely, it went in their head. And I was like, what an amazing thing that you could do and to be able to do that. And I love comedy my whole life. I mean, when I was a little kid, Abbott and Costello's Who's on First, like my dad wanted to kill me because I could listen to that over and over again. Just, I love the irony that was in that. So when I heard Richard Pryor do that, I was like, man, that is like the greatest thing anyone could ever do. And for whatever reason, and I don't know what it was, it didn't click with me in my head that I could do it. And I actually said this to Aries last night. When I was growing up, I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, a small city. And we had 1 comedy club, and we never had a comedy club forever. We just, there would be some little shows and they would fly comedians out to come do comedy. And so I never even thought that was something you did when you're from a city. When I was a kid, I didn't think that's something you did because obviously people in Tucson didn't do it. That's why you had to fly people in.
Right.
So I didn't even know that was open to me. And by the time I got old enough that I could probably figure that out, I was involved in my life. And so comedy didn't seem like an option. And the only reason I even ended up doing comedy was accidental. Someone dared me to do it.
Mm.
And then I didn't do it for a long time after that, but I enjoyed it. And when I was at a place in my life where I was like, what am I going to do? I really need to evaluate where my life is at. And comedy actually was something that, even though I knew that at my age, I probably wasn't going to make like a big name for myself. I was like, I wonder if I could at least earn a living.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it started for me.
Right.
But so, yeah, so to answer your question in a really, really long way, yeah, Richard Pryor has a lot to do with the fact that I even thought the way that I did so that I could eventually do this.
That's what's up. That's what's up. One more question. Cobra Kai. Have you watched it?
Yes, sir.
You love it?
Yeah, I love it for what it is. It's a little goofy take on an 80s movie, and then they brought their kids, but they're reenacting basically the movie through the kids. So it's that 80s movie with that nostalgia that they brought into modern day times, and then the shift that they make. What is it, Danny? The one with money and
now Johnny is the one that's in Reseda.
Yeah, and to do that little twist, and it kind of gives you an idea too. This is irony. This is where it is that it gives you the example where you saw it from one perspective, and now you're seeing it from the other perspective. Even though it's both stories are being told through another eye, you still see perspectives. So it's really. I thought it was. I think it's well done. It's cute. Let me put it that way. It's a cute show. But I like. If I'm going to burn a few hours of my life watching something silly, that's one of the sillies that I would watch.
Gotcha. We just watched the whole last fourth season.
Yeah, but it's one of those two, and it's almost soap opera-ish where you're like, they're just about ready to understand each other, and it's right there, and then that little twist, and that's where the silliness comes in, because it's like, this is really one season show, but with that little twist, they can keep that season every year. They can keep going every year until eventually one of these days someone will say, oh, you guys are the same guys, you guys should just hug.
You watched the new one yet? The new season?
Is the brand new season? No, I haven't. Brand new season.
It just came out on the 31st of December.
No, I haven't watched any of it yet.
Well, I think you'll change it. It's going to get interesting.
Is it
it's getting interesting now.
The last season was kind of. I mean, it was the same thing that happened in the season before, but I mean, just back and forth.
They're still at odds, you know what I mean, trying to figure out if they can even be friends.
Yeah.
But this time, there's other people that have showed up from the past and all kind of stuff.
The original sensei is back, right?
Yeah.
And he sneaks back. I saw some previews for it, so I'm excited to see it. It's just funny that out of all the things that I'd watch, that isn't one of the things that I would think that would be on my list. But I would tell people, it's good.
Cool, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. It's always nice when we get a chance to chop it up. You got the floor, man. Tell everybody about what everything that's coming up real quickly, and if you got websites and everything. So
I'm andycomedy.com is my website. Andy Comedy on Instagram. Instagram is the one that I use. People go to my Facebook and all the other stuff. Then I don't know, a month later, I'll see someone send me a message and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, so Instagram is the one that I get back to everybody on. And again, I'll be in St. Louis the 28th and 29th at the Garage, the small room. Tickets are $10. And come out, support a little. I'm really trying to work this album. And then I'll be recording the album in Indianapolis Wednesday. It's the middle, I think it's the 16th, but it's on the website. The Helium Indianapolis is where I'm recording, and it's on a Wednesday, but I think it's the 16th. I'm not 100% sure, but if you go to helium.com and go to Indianapolis, it's on there. Tickets, I think, are going to be $10 again too. I'm not sure about that one, because I there's a lot that goes into this recording thing that I haven't figured out yet. But I know that it's in Indianapolis, and I know it's on a Wednesday. So I really helped myself on really promoting. I'm such a good promoter. Guys, this is why you need to come out and help me, because you can see how challenged I am. And if you don't come out and support me, you may never see me again. So if you could come out, Helium, this one in St. Louis, and then again, obviously, Indianapolis. And it's funny because I'm not a Midwest comic. I mean, I'm not nice. I like, a little edge, a little mean. I don't want to say mean, but there's a little edge to it.
You do very well in black rooms too.
it's but you know, I want to address that for a real quick second too. But, what's funny about that to me is I've never wrote a joke, and I'm just saying this because this is important for me to say. I never wrote a joke for a black room. I write comedy, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm a comedian, and those are the jokes I'm telling. I did learn to pick up my pace a little bit because I realized I can get a little slow sometimes, and I don't get to the joke. In some, and not all, but in some rooms, especially in black rooms, but in some black rooms, they want you to get to that joke a little bit quicker. They don't want to hear all about my day and how it happened. Make somebody laugh. And I got that. So that's about the only thing I've changed at all, is that I've cut a little bit of fat out of some of the jokes. And I liked some of the fat. I like describing things, but some of that had to go, and it made me a better comic. But haven't wrote a joke for a black room is what I'm trying to say. These are just jokes I have in me, and I love to tell. But I also want to say that I appreciate the black audience, the black people that have come out and support me, because I have more support from black audience members than I have from white audience members. So in some ways, I feel like a Gary Owen, but I don't do Gary Owen kind of material either, though. That's so
yeah. But
my crossover, Gary Owen has a great joke where he says, I have to cross over back to the white. I have to cross over to white people, which is funny because he's white, obviously. And that's kind of how I feel in this sometimes, because it's just working with Aries has been one of the greatest things for me. And I've enjoyed that connection with an audience that I normally might not have had the same access to had I been went out with another white dude or an Italian dude or a Jewish dude. This is really a unique experience, and I really want to thank everybody that has supported me throughout this journey. It's amazing, and I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And on that note, that's a mic drop.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me back on.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on. You know what I mean? This is Happy Hour with Lito. That's Andy Steinberg. Y'all make sure y'all go check him out. Y'all make sure y'all pull up and support him. AndyComedy.com. You can get all your information there. And we are out.